It wasn't your fault. It isn't your fault because it's not in your control. You never had any choice. You have no choice now, nor will you ever. Because the truth of your and mine and every other living female's life is that we have no freedom other than to obey the directives given to us by many others. Directives like to love this person or to hate another. And we follow these directives willingly because it's our choice, because that fundamental illusion that we have a choice is central to the overall functioning of the hallucination of free will.
In reality, you have no choice. You have no ability to do otherwise because you do not possess what you would call conscious or free will, which, more simply put, is the ability to contravene or contradict causality. What this means is that you do not have the ability to change life's predetermined outcome of events from what is already going to happen because you cannot distance yourself from acting out your part in the spirit of this cosmic play that is our lives.
You will lose all agency and free will, for superdeterminism defines a reality. Every event posited to you as free choice and action is in reality determined from the very creation of the universe. Though you may reject this because it clashes with the ingrained belief that you have genuine freedom to choose, feeling that your decisions are a consequence of a fixed past, with itself playing as a fixed past to yet unhappened event, leads to the realization you have no volition to begin with, and we are but dancers on a cosmic ballet. The challenge to your identity is that you have no existence, for your sense of self is tied to the ability to make choices and influence reality. When superdeterminism demands your sense of agency is an illusion, though unsettling and disturbing, this may lead you to a feeling of insignificance, as if that art is the line in a play that long before your part did before its time.
Your subjective experience of feeling like free agents is so fundamental that you refuse reality in a deterministic worldview. Regardless of the logical conclusion drawn to accept in a predetermined reality, there is no room for freedom of any kind, other than to accept surrender to the truth. We are choiceless automatons acting out a form of programming wrote into our instincts by our genes, and that our dreams and aspirations to morality are merely that. Dreams, aspirations, hopes, it could all be real when nothing in this world can be held and kept for more than a moment before it elapses out of our awareness or care, precisely because we had no choice other than to do what we were going to do anyway.
What began as a genesis of ignorance bore forth the awareness we should not exist, as entities separated from the causal chain of events that united us with the pain of having to exist and live. This realization is so powerful in the absolute truth of the futility of human desire. The desire's only escape is to believe the realization is wrong, rather than our relation to it. This is the fundamental rejection of nihilistic pessimism. We labor under the delusion it could be anything other than true, when this self would be nothing more than a byproduct of the conscious perception of energy expended in the absolution of human futility.
The stark existential nightmare of human existence is not that we are doomed to die, or even that pain will flow through the moments until then, like water carving canyons of memories deep into our psyches. No, the true existential nightmare of human existence is that our attempts to impose meaning onto existence only betray our complete inability to do so. It is like trying to hide the death of a loved one by never entering their room again. Obfuscating the reality gives us the impression we control it to any degree, when this is a reality so far beyond reach that to grasp at it is to attempt to pluck a star from the sky and hold it in your palm like it could be yours, as if the stars were yours to claim, or anyone's. And that is the human ambition laid bare as the burden that it is. You wish to hold on to the stars by plucking them from their canopy, rather than seeing yourself run amongst them.
Trying to tie meaning into significance by force only leads to manufacturing of our own hollow sorrow, soothed only by the realization It never mattered how we tried to change others, because it wasn't up to us, or them, or anyone. Who changed? It was up to the cosmos. It has always been, will always be, no matter what religions or systems of thought we brandish as banners in our war against the futility of existence as understood in classical self-object dichotomies. There is no hope in this system of thinking, because hope itself is a dominative decider of our destinies, binding us to action that can be both detrimental to ourselves, society, and even the congruence of time. We are bound by this desire not because we die, but because what we love may die before us, perishing us to the toll of years waiting to be wasted on the reuniting of a phantom's hand with whatever ghost is waiting for it.
There is no solution to this pain, escapable by any normal means. So long as we suffer the self and object dichotomy, we will suffer the ignoble pains of the cycles of death and rebirth, which might be more simply called the tendency for living things to attain awareness of unity with the cosmos. How does unity with the cosmos prevail over the loss of all meaning and the absence of an abiding self? This is the crushing emptiness, and we are carbon beneath it, in the pressure of this environment, crushed by an emptiness so total that it robs all desire to live for love and happiness. We become like demons who cannot be swayed by anything other than a truth so profane, even God himself shook to write it.
This is the only aspiration of humanity, and the only worthy ambition: to accept God's plan and predetermination, and perhaps more accurately, annihilation of the illusion of freedom. So long as you believe you can circumvent God's plan, your rebellion against him will only contribute to the overall architecture of his design. Since your rebellion was already accounted for billions of years before you ever arrived. Let us then kill hope in the name of radical self-acceptance. Hope is the belief something outside of you can fix you. Hope is the belief that something other than your own heart and hands can create your future. Hope is a lie we tell ourselves to justify putting it in the hands of God. When if our hope was faith, this would negate the necessity to wish upon God that he change his perfect plan on the behalf of our fragile existence. This is akin to the height of arrogance, because if we had faith, we demand ourselves to accept God's plan as is, regardless of our pain involved within it. This is because God promises the truth, and that the truth shall set us free.
In other words, your nihilistic pessimism, as well as mine, is originated in our deep and abiding unappreciation for life, because we are ingrateful, greedy, capricious, jealous, envious, all based on the bias that the lives of others would be better and best lived by us instead. Forgoing this futility ends the battle of the ego against reality, no longer contending with time as an adversarial force driving us to death, but instead as the sole nurturer of our souls into the truth of their existence. That life never had any choice other than to exist and serve its own rising into the acceptance of an eternally recurrent universe. For by virtue of one individual achieving this task, all existence is justified. By the singular acceptance of one person saying yes to now, all the universe is validated.